I promised myself that from now on I'm not going to use the word lottery because the word lot is very, very much a part of the biblical truth. But I will use the word casting lots, which is a lottery, but I'm not going to use the word lottery, okay? That'll be a little less offensive. And particularly in this day, there are those who are just waiting for camping to say the wrong thing and come up with a wrong idea. You see, he's a false prophet. He doesn't know what he's talking about, and they're just sitting there. And I don't blame them. If I were an unbeliever, I'd be doing the same thing. But anyway, we aren't going to use the word lottery. We're going to use the word casting of lots whenever we have to say that. But getting back to Matthew 27, you'll notice there in Matthew 27 and 35, and they crucified him and parted his garments, casting lots, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet. They parted my garments among them, and upon my vesture did they cast lots. Now, there's the word lots now. I didn't put it there. God has put it there right in that sentence, that verse, very definitely. Now, amazingly, when we go to Acts 26, verse 18, Acts 26, verse 18, and this is really very, very interesting. Acts 26, verse 18, it's talking about what Christ came to do, starting with verse 17, delivering thee from the people and from the Gentiles, unto whom now I send thee, to open their eyes, to turn them from darkness to light, from the power of Satan unto God, that they may receive forgiveness of sins and inheritance, exactly the same word as lot. Leave an inheritance among them which are sanctified by faith that is in me. And just to kind of double up on this, if we go to Colossians chapter 1, verse 12, Colossians chapter 1, verse 12, we find there, giving thanks unto the Father, which hath made us meet to be partakers of the lot, or the inheritance of the saints in light. Now, actually, when you think about it, an inheritance is a result of casting lots. No, the Bible doesn't put it quite that way, and we wouldn't either. But you know, when you draw your will, and if you are working together with your wife, the two of you have an identical will, because in case the Lord takes both of you out at the same time, and you put in that will who is to receive every nickel that you own. And normally the people who are first considered are who? Your children. Your children. They automatically are identified with that business of casting lots, because I'll show you how a will goes. You write your will, and nobody really, you don't have to tell a soul, except maybe your attorney who assisted you to write the will, so you'd be very, very, it would be a very legal will. But it's not legal. It is not of any force at all. Till when? Till you die. All right. Now, first of all, you may look at your children and they're doing real well, and there's another person that you know, maybe a friend or a relative or something, and has a lot of great needs, and so you leave some of your money for them. Maybe you leave your money for a charitable organization. Every now and then, people will leave their money for family radio, and then some relative will really protest it. You know, we didn't get any money, and that happens again and again. But that is the nature of a will. You have no control. Nobody has any control over that will except the writer of the will. And he can change that at any time. At any time, he can change that will. And because he's had a change of mind about giving his estate to these people or to that person or somebody else. But once the writer of the will dies, then it is locked in. You can't change it if it's been a well-drawn will. And maybe you thought you were the heir apparent, you were the one that should have received most of the money, and you find out you're left out altogether. And over here is somebody who never expected anything at all, and they get most of the money. That's the nature of a will. It's like casting lots. That's why the word inheritance is like casting a lot. And it's the same word as lot, because we have no control whether we're going to be a recipient, whether we're going to have the inheritance. And in this case, the will is drawn by God, and that's why and I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but that's why in Hebrews we read in chapter 10 in verse 16. It just says it as plain as day. For where a testament is, and God wrote the testament, where a testament is, there must also of necessity be the death of the testator. For a testament, that is a will, is a force after men are dead. Otherwise it is of no strength at all, while the testator liveth. And that is why we know that Christ had to die before he created the world. Supposing Christ had not died before he created the world, and he died finally at the time of the cross, what about the people like Moses and David and any other Old Testament people? Enoch. How in the world how did Enoch get raptured, get caught up to be with God? How did Elijah get up? Well, it meant that God wrote the will, and it has no force of effect till he died. So what does that mean? He had to die before he created the world.